Welcome to today's training. I'm glad you're taking this opportunity to do this pre-recorded training. I know not always everyone's available to get on trainings, whenever we have a specific time plan to do them live. So I'm looking forward to providing some more of these pre-recorded trainings for you to do at your convenience over a 7-day period over the next few months, just to make trainings more accessible to everyone. So today's training is going to be on building a support circle with your community. And what I'm elaborating on with that topic is really giving you some tips and just the confidence to actually take your loved one with a diagnosis out into the community. Now, I know not always that's feasible and everybody's scenario is different, but maybe these are just some tips that if you're just lacking the confidence of taking your loved one out, maybe these are some things that can help you. Don't feel bad, like I said, if these things are just not feasible for you, or just taking your loved one out of the house is not feasible. Everyone's scenario is different, and what works best for you is most certainly what works best for you and your loved one. But in a lot of scenarios, how caregivers get burnt out, care recipients can often get burnt out sitting at home doing the same stuff over and over. So if it is an option, it's definitely a good idea to try to just get your loved one out of the house. So we will jump right into it. Before today's training, I sent you a link with the recording to do a pre-test. Please complete that before you continue if you have not done so already. Once you finish watching this training, just email me and let me know that you have watched it, and I will send you the link to the post test. And be sure to fill out the post test because you could be eligible to receive a $50 stipend for watching today's training. So like I said, do the pre-test if you haven't already, and then when you're done watching this, email me at cfrinsley@ucphuntsville.org. I'm the one that emailed you the link and the pre-test, so you can actually just respond to that when you're done watching this and let me know you've finished. So when your loved one receives a diagnosis, the fear and uncertainty can feel overwhelming. A lot of times, the resources that you need are not readily available. Sometimes a diagnosis comes out of the blue, so you're just thrown into the daily task of providing care and figuring out the best way to provide care, figuring out how to overcome new dilemmas that are arising every moment, every day. So it can be a very overwhelming time. Adapting to the changes is a challenge, no matter how much you've read and researched, which unfortunately, a lot of times when you are put in the role as a family caregiver, you have not even had time to read or research anything. Going out in public, for example, can require careful planning and special knowledge when your loved one has a disability. It's important to remember that a diagnosis can cause embarrassment, social withdrawal, and increased anxiety in both public and private spaces, but overcoming those obstacles is obtainable. And that's really what I'm going to get into today. Like I said, if it is possible to take your loved one out, I'm just going to give you a few tips or ideas that maybe would make it easier to take your loved one out. So, some ways to make the experience easier would be prepared. The unfamiliar public world may present stimuli that are simply too much for your loved one. It's important to be understanding and also to prepare for the possibility that he or she will become overwhelmed. Take note of situations which seem to irritate or overstimulate your loved one. Do crowds bother them more than bright lights? Do they become more irritated when they have to sit, stand, or walk for long periods of time? Assess their needs before you go out in public. Are they hungry or thirsty? Do they need to use the bathroom? Is their clothing or shoes causing them discomfort? Ask these questions before leaving the house to ensure that they are as comfortable as possible in the public space. Be prepared with a comforting activity or conversation if your loved one becomes overly agitated. While there isn't a foolproof method of predicting how the public atmosphere will affect your loved one, it can help to understand your particular loved one's mood and tendencies. So, really, just being prepared can be a big asset, like I said, just making sure all the boxes are checked, making sure you have anything that may help diffuse a situation that may arise while you're out would be good. Just like taking a baby out, you've got to pack a diaper bag, you've got to pack diapers, wipes, formula, bottles, snacks, pacifiers. It's much like that. Just being overly prepared for anything that may arise. Another way to make the experience easier could be prevent wandering. Wandering is a very common behavior associated with a lot of different conditions. When you go out in a public space, it's important to stay alert and in tune with your loved ones so they don't have a chance to slip away into the crowd. So essentially, just stay on high alert. Don't get easily distracted or let your mind wander away from the fact that your loved one is with you. If your loved one is particularly at risk of wandering, there are some ways you can prepare. Make sure your loved one has an information card in a pocket or on a necklace. The card should include their name, condition, address, and the name and phone number of a caregiver. This will help them be safely returned if they should wander and get lost. Keep your loved one nearby. If you have to, hold their hand or keep a hand on them while you're out. So, like I mentioned, even in today's time, just going out with your children or just anyone, it's a good idea to have an ID card on someone. If they don't have an ID or driver's license, just even a sticky note with someone's name jotted down, their diagnosis, their address, a caregiver's name, and a caregiver's phone number, just to slip in that person's pocket in the scenario that maybe they do wander off or something happens to them and they're confused and can't remember, where they're supposed to be or who they're supposed to be with or how to contact anyone. Hopefully, someone in that scenario could find this identification card on your loved one and could get in contact with you and easily reunite you with your loved one. A lot of local organizations sometimes have identification cards like this that you can reach out to. So definitely, if that's something you would like, you can reach out to me and I can try to put you in touch with someone, or I can make something, a little card up for you on some cardstock and mail that to you. But it's just a good idea just to have some sort of identification that's just easy to read, easy to find, easy to see on your loved one when y'all go out would be good. Another thing that may make the experience easier is have communication techniques. Often, a loved one will become agitated, aggressive, or unresponsive once they enter a public space. The stimulation and unfamiliar surroundings are overwhelming, causing them to become distressed and react negatively. It's really important to have a set of communication techniques in place to help you discern what's bothering them and possibly to bring them back to an even mood. Keep your questions short and simple. Make eye contact when you talk to them. Use their name when speaking. Respond to their aggression or agitation with comforting phrases, tones of voice, and gestures. If they will allow you to hold their hand or place a hand on their shoulder, signs of affection will help them feel more comfortable and at ease. So, when I say have communication techniques, that's nothing specific. A lot of times with your loved one, you just may know y'all may have certain things between each other that you can do or say to diffuse a situation. And that's all I mean by that. Just keep in mind some things that you know that you can do that could diffuse a situation with your loved one while you're out. So, another thing would be to ask for help if you need it, which I know is way easier said than done. But a lot of times, if your loved one is at a stage of diagnosis that's too much for you to handle alone, a trained caregiver can make things easier for everyone involved. Whether it be just to bringing respite into the home or taking your loved one out into the public, people are there to help. Educate people on your loved one, their diagnosis, and their triggers. An easy and simple way to make your situation more known to the public is by having informational cards you can hand to anyone with your care recipient's name, diagnosis, and some things that would make them more comfortable out in the public. So, Obviously, if you've ever heard anyone talking about respite, respite is good for both the caregiver and care recipient. But most importantly, when the caregiver gets respite, they have time to recharge, take care of themselves. So then they're the best form of a caregiver to their loved one. And a lot of times the caregiver is, has more patience, um, slows down a little bit, does not feel overwhelmed. Therefore, your loved one is not stimulated in a negative way. So, like I mentioned, much how we talked about identification cards. Another good idea would be if you are in a scenario out in public with your loved one, and maybe some people are giving you weird looks, giving you judgmental eyes, making you feel uneasy. Maybe you can just have a little business card type thing on you that you can just hand someone and say, this is my loved one, this is their diagnosis, and here's something that you could do that would make them more comfortable. And maybe if they're just aware of the situation, maybe they can be more helpful, react in a more helpful way. So I mocked up a little example for you guys. And this is just a little business card type thing that said, my loved one is very special. Here's some helpful information, and you can put their name, their diagnosis, and just something that says my loved one is comfortable when, and I put you make him feel included and important. So again, this is not a fix all. This is just, something that you could do. If you would like some of these just blank to be able to fill in, you can reach out to me also and get some of these that I could make up for you that you could fill in yourself. So that's just something that you could have on hand as the caregiver to give people when you take your loved one out in public, like I said, just to make them aware of the situation. And obviously, Alabama Respite is here to help, and we're not the only respite organization, and we're obviously not your only asset that you can take advantage of, but we just have so many resources to just try to make caregivers' life easier, to try to allow them time to take a step back and make sure they're taking care of themselves. So some of the things that we do here at Alabama Respite is respite reimbursement services, which if you're already on our program, you're aware of that. If you are currently an unpaid family caregiver in Alabama and not receiving respite from any other service, you can definitely reach out to me and I can get you signed up for our program. We do free online, on-site caregiver education opportunities such as this, but outside of this, including quarterly respite clinics, I partner with other caregiver agencies and do trainings, and I do a virtual reality experience that puts you in the body of someone with a diagnosis. So if you would be interested in doing something like that, definitely reach out to me and I can get that lined up. We do caregiver respite awareness, including presentations and exhibits at conferences and community events, as well as lunch and learns with groups, organizations, churches, and agencies that serve family caregivers. We have a caregiver wellness initiative, which supports the mental health of family caregivers by allowing us to pay for 3 sessions for you to be able to receive mental health counseling from a provider of your choice. We have a free Care Academy respite provider online training that if you would like to hire someone to sit with your loved one, but you just want them to have a little bit of training, you can refer them to us and they can do 8 hours of training online that would enable them to do that. We do a quarterly care chat, which is an online caregiver and agency resource exchange with statewide agency representatives to bring all kinds of resources to family caregivers. We do respite resource information and referrals for caregivers. We have a statewide calendar of caregiver education opportunities and events. We do a monthly caregiver newsletter that you can sign up for on our website. And then we advocate to our state and local and federal agencies to bring respite awareness to our legislators. Our website, alabamarespite.org, you can go look at an online respite provider document on there that will show you all the respite day programs throughout the state. Our office is located in Huntsville, Alabama, but we are a statewide program, so we can serve any unpaid family caregiver in Alabama not being served by another respite program. This is my email right here, cfrinsley@ucphuntsville.org. That's where you need to email to let me know that you finished this training, and I will send you the post test. And then this phone number I have on here is our office number that we are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. So if you ever have any questions or need any resources or anything like that, feel free to call us. And then if you obviously, if you've done this training today, you know how to find our trainings and register with them. So I encourage all caregivers to take advantage of our online training such as this and any sort of training that we do. Caregivers could be eligible to receive a $50 stipend. So be sure to share our trainings with your friends. And if y'all need anything, be sure to reach out to us. But thank y'all for doing this training. And if y'all need anything, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.